off by looking at the profile section of Canvas, and then we're going to go ahead and go into the inbox, go over the dashboard section that you see right when you log in, and then we'll jump into a course, go over like the homepage syllabus, how you create content in your course, how you want to like set it up for your students, as well as show you some people section like analytics you can run and go over the gradebook. And then after that, go over some additional things like migrating a course, places you can get help, and as well as the calendar view and setting up office hours. So let's go ahead and begin. So all of you should already have accounts in Canvas, and if you have a fall running course, you'll also see it already available for you. If not, you should also have a sandbox in case you want to go ahead and play around. But you can go ahead and get to Canvas by putting in american.instructor.com, like as you see on top, or you can also do canvas.american.edu. So either way, it'll take you here and you'll see the dashboard. But before we get to that, I want to go over the account section. So you'll see account on the top. Go ahead and click on yourself, click notifications. Now, this is a pretty neat area of Canvas. So right here, you can see everything that you will be notified of within Canvas, and you can kind of set how often you want to be notified. So right on top, you see notify me right away, daily summary, weekly summary, don't send at all. So you can kind of go through here and kind of set like announcements you would want to see it daily. Maybe if a professor in another course updated the course content, maybe you don't want to get notified for that, but you can go ahead and set all that within here. The next area is the profile section. So unlike Blackboard, Canvas, the profile images doesn't automatically populate. So you'll have to come here under profile, press that icon and go ahead and upload the picture that you want. This is also great so you can update it as often as you want as well. Under here, you also have the biography section. So if you go ahead and click this kebab menu right over here on the right, you'll be able to edit it and you'll be able to add in any additional information you want your students to see. And when we go into the course, I'll show you exactly where they'll see all this content. Next section is files. So essentially everything you upload into Canvas, you'll be able to view right here within the account file section. Also, when you're inside the course, I'll show you the course has its own file section as well, which will show specifically that course. Last area that's important to note in the account area is settings. So this is more important for your students. If your students are ever trying to download all their submissions that they've done in Canvas, they can go ahead and click this download submission button right here. The other thing that's important to note, if you have any students that have difficulty seeing, they need a higher contrast, there's this feature option right here. So I won't show it everywhere in the course inside Canvas, but just notice right here, the sidebar, that's the normal sidebar. But when I go ahead and select high contrast, the bar is now gray. It's easier to identify what is a hyperlink, and this kind of transitions throughout the whole use of Canvas. So that is there for students or instructors that need it. Now let's go ahead, look at the dashboard real quick, and then we'll go into the inbox. So the dashboard, this is the main area of Canvas. You'll be able to see all your courses right here. If you want to drag and drop and move them around, you can do so. You can change the color, and whatever color you choose, that is what your students will see on their side as well. Apply. And you could also provide a nickname. Nicknames are only seen on your side, so other people will still see the course name unless they change it themselves. Another thing to mention, this is the best view for professors, but in case you do see your dashboard that looks differently, so there's this kebab menu over here that can change it. This is the card view like normal. You can also see a list view, which is more for students, and it'll show all the assignment due dates and then recent activities. Recent activities just shows what's going on in all your courses. But generally, the card view is the most used view on dashboard. Now inbox. So good thing to note about the inbox within Canvas versus Blackboard. So Blackboard, as you guys know, there is an inbox per course. In Canvas, there is just one global inbox. It's also called Canvas Communications. And this is where you'll kind of reach out to any student in particular. You can use this pencil up here and select a course. Let's see, let me click a course that has students. Cool. And then you'll be able to select all, just the teachers, select a specific student or all students, and so forth. and go ahead and send out your message. You can add attachments, add recorded media or record media to send, and everything. Cool thing about Canvas Communications is anything that is sent through Canvas Communications will automatically go to the user's Outlook as well. So it'll go to their @american.edu handle, and you could actually reply directly from your Outlook email, and it will also instantaneously go through Canvas Communications. So it is a two-way function. It does have two-way functionality, so it is a pretty neat function of Canvas. So with that being said, go ahead and go inside of a course. And once I show a bit of how a course works and everything, I'll go ahead and stop for any comments or questions. So anything you see in the course right here, this homepage and syllabus I'm going to show you, this is actually a template that we created already for instructors to use. You can go ahead and find this in Commons, which I'll show later, but just keep that in mind if you do like the template you see on the homepage, and once we get into the syllabus, those are available for you to go ahead and use. So when you enter a course, you will see the homepage, which right now is set up to a page, but you can actually choose it in Canvas. So you can click this button right here, choose homepage. It's set to that, but I can set it to a course modules. I can set it to the syllabus, the activity stream. And as soon as I click and save, it'll automatically adjust like so. Let's go back to my page though. Now, so this is a Canvas page, which will show how to get to them, more of them later. But once you go ahead and edit one, you'll see a very familiar text editor. You can put a title up here, a description, and then you have a few additional options here as far as text formatting, and then add a hyperlink, add an image. You can also upload media, kind of as I showed previously. Upload a document, so this is where you would add in a PDF if you would like. And then you can go ahead and click on this plug to embed Kaltura media and a few additional LTIs as well. And of course, you can directly edit right here and you'll see it. And if you like to edit in code, you also have that ability as well. Some other neat features about Pages. Now, Pages are non-graded content, but you can actually set it to add to the student to do. So if this page is extremely important, you can just click on this right here, add to student to do, provide a date, and then on the student side, they will see that they need to read this page by so-and-so date. So I'm not gonna make any changes, not gonna save any of my changes. So yeah. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the syllabus. So Canvas created a pretty cool syllabus platform. Again, this is a template that we already created for you guys that we'll see in Commons, but you could also use that upload document if you'd like to upload a normal PDF version of your syllabus. That's also fine for you. But the cool thing about the syllabus, once you write it into Canvas, if a student goes to print it, it prints out pretty nicely for them. The other neat feature of Canvas, as you see up here, there is a calendar and there's a bunch of dates already kind of blocked out. And what that is if I go click on the 20th, it'll bring me down to the course summary section of the syllabus, which will show all the graded content that you have created in your course and when it's due. This automatically populates as soon as you create that assignment. So Canvas added this neat feature where a student can just come sit down here and see when everything's due. They can even click on the assignment and it'll take them directly to it. And again, it's integrated with this calendar right on top for them. Next, we'll go into announcements. So almost every piece of content you can create in Canvas, you'll see one of these big blue buttons on the right. That's how you would go ahead and create. And again, we see that similar, that title, you can add a title, you can add description, and you can go ahead and post to multiple sections or one. So this course I'm using right now is a cross-listed section. So for any of you that will be using, we'll be having cross-listed sections, you'll see this right here where it'll say like post to all sections, or I can select just one section that I want them to see this. I can also add an attachment. I can delay the posting for another day. I can add comments, allow liking, and so forth. So yeah, I'll create a quick little announcement, intro post, upload media. Eagle image. Going back to my car because I forgot my mask. So I can go ahead and upload that right there. I can adjust the image size too if I need to. If it's too big, go ahead. I'm not going to delay the posting. Go ahead and save. And now my 101 section will see this announcement that I created for them. I can go back to the announcement section, and here I'll see everything else that was created in this course. And as you can see, while this one was created for just one section, everything else says for all my other sections, for all my sections. When you create an announcement, students will be able to see it in the course, and they'll also receive a notification to their American email handle. Now let's go ahead and go into the module section. So the module section is where you're going to want to set up your course. This is kind of like the main area of your course. This is where you'll list any content they need to read, anything that they need to complete. And generally modules are set up on a weekly basis. So if your course is 16 weeks, you'll probably end up having 16 modules. So right here, as you can see, there is a module 0 getting started. This also comes from the template, and what's inside of it is just kind of just an overview of how to use Canvas. You can leave it up if you want. This is more for your students. They can go ahead and click and kind of just see how Canvas works and all that. Now, right here, we have our module 1 where I already have inputted some additional content. So you'll go ahead and press the plus on top and add, the assignment, the file, the page that you want to add right here for them. So about instructor, let's go ahead and add that. And I can drag it, put it where I need it. As you see over here too, there's these green circles, and that's essentially, is this published? Can my students see it? So right now, if a student were to come into my course, they would be able to see module 1. They'll be able to see all this content except for course overview because it's unpublished. So I still see it there as an instructor, but until I'm ready to make this published to my students, they will not see it. Some other cool features of modules, as you can see up here, it says that there's a pre-requirement already set, and it also says complete one item, where down here on quiz 1, it says score at least 2 points. So I already set this all up, but I'll go ahead and show you. If you go ahead and click the kebab menu on that specific module, you have the option to edit. And you can set up pre-requirements or requirements. So right now, the pre-requirement is that they need to complete module 0. So before they can even see module 1, they'll have to go through that getting started module. But what does it mean to complete a module? That's where you go into requirements. So you can set requirements in a few ways. You could either set a requirement as they have to move through things in a sequential order, or you can set up a requirement like they must complete this, they have to take the quiz and score at least 2 points. I could also set it to the instructor page, they have to view this item. And I can also set multiple requirements. So now they'll need to quiz 1. And once you go ahead and update it, it'll appear like that, where now the student needs to view this, and they'll also need to complete this before they can continue on to the next module. So right here, right from modules, again, you could go ahead and add your quizzes, your assignments, and pages, but we'll go ahead and show how to add them through their actual tabs. So we'll go into assignments now. And go ahead and add an assignment. So again, as you see the title area, add a description. Again, if you need to add any PDFs or if you like to add any course media, you can go ahead and do that. If you like to upload something you took from Kaltura, you can do that as well. So we scroll down and we have the points. You can set your points here. You can put your assignment group. So you could weight groups in Canvas. So in case I wanted to make this assignment group, 70% of their score, it would all be within that clump. You can display the grade how you want. So points is generally how everything's set, but if you're going on a letter grade, GPA, you can manipulate that here. Submission type. So there's a few different types of submission types for assignments. You have no submission, so you're just inputting the grade for the student. On paper, they submitted a paper in person. So you're again just submitting it for the student. And then external tool. So if they're going to take a Kaltura quiz, this is where you would find it right here. Voice thread as well. And once turn it in is enabled, you'll also be able to set up Turnitin through this as well. But we'll use the main type, which is online. And that would be the students submitting to this Canvas assignment themselves. And you can allow for different options, text entry being one of them, website URL, media recording, file uploads. Cool thing about file uploads is you can actually restrict the file types. So in case you do want just a document or a PDF, but students for some reason keep submitting a PowerPoint, this is where you go ahead and restrict that for them. So when they go ahead and try to submit to the assignment, it will tell them only docs, PDFs are accepted. And they try to submit that PowerPoint or that JPEG, it'll prevent them, and again, prompt them to submit a doc or PDF. Now we have our submission attempts. You can allow just 1, 2, or unlimited, and this is unlimited until the due date has passed. Group assignments, I'll show you in the People tab how to set up groups, but if you do create a group assignment, this is where you'd go ahead and set that all up. You can select which groups that you would like, and now when that assignment is submitted on your side, you'll be grading for one person, but that grade will affect everyone in that group. Set up peer reviews if you would like your students to review each another person in the course, and you can set up manually or automatic, and also set it so it's anonymous. They'll only see student 1, student 2, and so forth. Moderated grading, in case you have TAs in your course that will be doing the grading for you, you can set this up, and essentially what it will do is they will have the grade, but then you'll kind of go in with the final say, just checking them all off like you agree with the grades the TAs gave. And again, anonymous grading for those TAs, same thing, kind of like, as I mentioned, the peer reviews, where instead of the TA seeing each student's name, they'll just see student 1, student 2, and so forth. Now, an important feature in Canvas is the Assign To section. And again, you will see this in assignments, quizzes, and discussions. So it's a pretty cool feature where right now it's set to assign, it's assigned to everyone, and I can give the due date of the 21st. But let's say, since I do have 2 courses in here, instead I only want section 1 to be due on the 21st. So I can set it like that, and then I can use this plus add button down here, go to my 102 section, and provide them a different due date of the 24th. So both courses will see the same assignment, but depending on what section they're enrolled to, they'll see the due date of the 21st or the 24th. An additional thing I can do, let's say a student already came to you and told you, hey, professor, I can't actually submit by the 24th or the 21st, and they gave you a legitimate reason. So I can go ahead and select that one specific student and give him a due date of his own. So now again, anybody from 101 will see the 21st, anyone from 102 will see the 24th, and this one specific student, Han Solo, will see the due date of the 26th. So that all can be manipulated right here in the Assign To section. But let's go ahead and go back to everyone having the same due date. Because the other thing I want to show is now everyone's due on the 21st, but as you can see, there's an available from and until section. So what this does is right now, if I were to create this assignment, a student will be able to see it, and they'll have to the 21st to complete it. But now if I set it to opening on the 20th, if a student were to come into my course right now, they will not see the assignment. They will see the assignment after 12 a.m. on the 20th. And we also have an until section. So if I set this up as well, and I select maybe the 23rd instead of the 21st, if a student were to come into the course and submit this assignment after the 21st and before the 23rd, Canvas will still accept it, but on both the student side and on your side, you will see the assignment as late. So this is kind of how you'll set up if you would like to allow late assignments or late quizzes and discussions. Then on your side, you'll be able to manually kind of edit the grade and deduct points as you want, or in the gradebook, there's also an option called the late policy. So it will integrate with this in the sense that if a student submitted 2 days late, the late policy will automatically deduct points for you. So that's a pretty neat feature to also mention. And then you'd go ahead and save and publish, and the assignment would be open for students. Now I already created a fake assignment with fake student information, so we'll go ahead and check that out so I can show you a few things you can do once students have submitted. So this is assignment 1 I had already created. As you can see on the side, it says that there's 2 out of 3 submissions graded, and I have a few options. I can download the submissions, and I can also use SpeedGrader. So if you want to grade offline, you would go ahead and download the submissions and do so. But Canvas has a pretty neat grading function called SpeedGrader, and we'll check this out now. And SpeedGrader is also available in the discussion and quizzes area, but I see it as most useful for assignments. So as you can see here, this is the Excel that I had to upload. This is how it looks if a student didn't submit an assignment. This one's going to be a Word document, which we will come back to, but just let it populate real quick. And then here is if a student were to submit through text entry, it would look like this. And as you can see up here on the right, it says that that item was submitted late. So let's go back to that Word document. So when a student submits, right within SpeedGrader, you'll be able to do things like highlight. You can add a comment directly on the page. And you can also, as you can see, there's a few drawings already, but you can draw if you'd like. And everything I'm doing here is also integrated into the Canvas app. So if you have an iPad and a pencil, you can do everything I'm doing right now directly on the app. And of course, you have a few additional options up here, and you can provide additional comments on the side, as well as maybe attach a rubric if you need to. Some professors mentioned how they would like to actually provide their comments through voice. So you can, either record it or you can just set it up so it's just a mic and record that way in case you want to relay tone and you're worried your students might, not take your critiques the best. And then this last option is kind of a voice to text where, you just tell Canvas what you want it to write and it'll write it for you. And then you can provide the grade up here. And everything that you do within SpeedGrader, the student will be able to see once they go review their grade. Go ahead and update that for the student so we can see all that later. Cool. So that's how to create an assignment in a nutshell. Before we jump over to discussions and quizzes, the only other thing I'd like to mention for assignment tab versus those tabs is if you go to quizzes and the discussion tabs, these will automatically populate with just what they are. So right here, anytime I create a quiz, it'll automatically show up here. Anytime I create a discussion, it'll automatically show up here. The assignment tab is a little different though. It not only shows assignments, but it'll show anything gradable in the course. So as you can see, quizzes automatically show up, discussions also automatically show up. So, some professors, they prefer to hide these additional tabs, but the assignment one might be one that you want to keep up because it is another view for students to see anything that is graded in the course. Now, I'm going to jump over to quizzes and discussions, and then we'll break real quick for any questions on the content areas before we continue through the course. So over here, same thing. We're going to go ahead and add a quiz, big blue button, add a title, add description. You can set your quiz type. Maybe it's a practice quiz, so it's not gradable and you don't want it to show up in the syllabus or the assignment tab. You can do that. You can also set it as a survey, which is the same thing as a quiz, but you just want to give it a different title. Select the assignment group in case you're doing weighted versus not weighted. And as you can see, there's a lot of duplicates, but that's just because the way I've course copied into this course, you wouldn't normally see a bunch of duplicates for groups. You have the option to shuffle your answers, set up a time limit, allow multiple attempts. You can set it so that all the correct answers are viewable after a certain date. So, you want, as professors, I'm sure you guys want your students to get all the information that they can, but maybe since I took it the first day and it's open for 3 days, you don't want me to see the answers on the first day where I can end up providing it to everyone else. So you can go ahead and set it so that, correct answers show after the due date or whenever you want, and hide them as well in case, those questions are going to show up again on the final exam. So let's set it so one question shows up at a time. Restrictions aren't really used, but those are options for you. And again, we have this assigned to window where you can set a due date, availability, and set it at a different times per student or course sections. scroll up to the question area. So once all the normal settings are set, you'd go over to questions, where you'd have the option to add a new question, add a group, or find questions. These two would be if you have question banks set up in your course, but we'll go ahead and click on new question. So here you'll be able to add multiple questions. This drop down here is where you'll choose what type of question format. Most of them are, you've seen in Blackboard, so they're all over here as well, and including a few other ones like a formula question. But we'll go ahead and click multiple choice, add your question right here, and I'll jump over the moon. And then you'd be able to set up your possible answer choices down here, where the arrow or the one that's highlighted in green is your correct answer versus the possible other ones. So, yes, no, maybe. You can add additional question answers if you'd like. And you could also set up comments based on what question they answered. So they answered yes, correct, versus no, sorry. And you can also set up how many points you want that question to be worth right up here. So once you have your question set all up, you'd want to go ahead and click update question down here. And that's important to note because there's certain times where if you don't click that update questions, the question could just disappear and it won't actually save. So when you are done creating a question, you always want to make sure you click on update question. Go ahead and add more questions, and then you'd be able to save and publish. But again, I already have one set up already, so let's go ahead and check that one out. So this is quiz one that I had previously created. As you see, it has right here, the students will be able to see all the information on it. How many points is it worth? If it has a time limit, are the questions shuffled, all that. As a professor, you can go ahead and preview the quiz right on top. Go ahead and preview, see what the students have been taking. What year did America claim its independence? What started Boston Tea Party? What was Paul Revere known for? Submit, and kind of get a guide, like an idea of what they're doing. So once students have submitted to your quiz, you'll have a few options on the side. Quiz statistics, kind of what you expect, where it'll just tell you the average of what people are getting per question. So it's a cool feature right there. You have the moderate speed grader, which showed in the assignment area, and then we have moderate this quiz. Moderate the quiz is the coolest area for quizzes, where you can see all your students that have taken the exam or haven't yet, how many attempts they've taken, how much time it took them, their score, and their attempts left. And with this little pencil right here, you can set additional things, like maybe I want to provide just one additional attempt for a specific student. I can go ahead and give them that attempt. I can also provide extra time for that specific student as well. So this is where you'd go to just manually edit the quiz for one student. The other thing you can see is once the student has taken that exam, you can go ahead and click on their name and you'll see how well they did. Other things you can see, if you go ahead and click view logs, you can see how they were going through the quiz at that time. So right here, I can see at the 4-second mark, they answered question one, and at the 17-second mark, they stopped looking at Canvas altogether. So this is a pretty neat function. If a student comes to you and says that they had issues during the exam, you can actually go ahead and view what exactly happened while they're taking that exam. And again, you'd get to that by going into the quiz, moderate this quiz, select that user, view logs. Now we'll jump into SpeedGrader and show that real quick. So again, you can see exactly what happened when the student was taking the exam, and a few other cool features within the SpeedGrader. Let's say this was actually a text entry and you really enjoyed the student's answer and you want to actually give them extra credit. So I can actually go ahead and provide extra credit right here and give that person 2 extra points out of that 1. And it'll be reflected on their final score. I can also provide fudge points. So again, I'm providing extra credit, but not on a specific question. I just really like the student, so I'm going to give them an extra 5 points. And it'll be reflected here, and they'll see it as well. You can add additional comments as you want, and as well, you can add additional comments on the side too. So that can all be done within the quiz area. Last thing to note about the quiz area. So let's say by accident, one of your questions was set up incorrectly. It happens. So you'll go ahead and go to the question section, and let's say question 2, what ignited the Boston Tea Party, was incorrect. It wasn't no taxation without representation. The right answer is actually really bad tea. So if I go ahead and click it to correct it, Canvas will give you a few options. And essentially these options are, there's 4 of them, and it's asking you, okay, what would you like to do now? Anybody that answered previously the incorrect answer, do you want them to maintain their points? How do you want the points to shift over? So there is that feature in case, you know, there is an incorrect question in your course, and you'll be able to correct it, and as well as decide how you want the points to shift. And that's all right here within the quiz section. Let's go into discussions. So again, big blue button, title, description, select which sections you would like to post it to. Allow for threaded replies, which I'll show. Usually you'll want to select users must post before seeing replies. Select it if you would like it to be graded. You can select allow liking and whatnot. You can set up so it's a group discussion, which I'll show one of those. The amount of points, how you want it to be displayed in what group, and then again, the assign to section as well. Unmute this. So these are 2 posts that I already set up. And as you can see over here, this intro post, there's a 3 and a 1. So what this means is there's 3 total responses within this intro post, and there's 1 I hadn't seen yet. Yeah. Now if we go ahead and click inside, this was just to say hi to your fellow classmates. We have OB1 saying hello, and then General Grievous replying. And you can see this is a threaded reply because there's no space between these 2. And as you can see over here, this blue dot is the one I had yet to read. And this is just an additional comment that is separated from this threaded reply. And there you go. You can see where students were to go if they would like to like somebody's comment. If you were to set up a group discussion, you'd go ahead and click on that group discussion, and you'll see the multiple groups right here. And then you'd be able to click into that group and see any comments or anything that's going on between those students. And the only people that are allowed to see the group 1 group discussion are the people within that specific group, and yourself because you're the professor. So let's go ahead and jump out of the group. Okay, so we will still be going over the settings area and a few other things like Kaltura and Zoom. But if anybody has any questions specifically on like assignments, discussions, syllabus, or anything I've gone over already, this would be the time. We'll take a quick break. Check out that chat area.
There's one question about journals, Justin, about setting up a journal in Canvas.
There's one set up a journal that a student makes entries in all semester.
So in Blackboard, there's a journal function, like there's a journal assignment tool, but in Canvas, there isn't. There isn't actually a journal function. What you could do is you could have an assignment. You could create an assignment where they submit each week. Or you could have also too, if you just created a Google Doc for them, or they created a Google Doc, they could then submit that each week. It's up to you.
That question. No, that's a great response. That's better than the option I was going to give too. What I was going to say, especially if you want to specifically in the discussion area, you could also set up groups and just have the groups consist of that one user. So that is also an option, but I definitely think the assignment section would probably be best. Logs do not confirm cheating. It's just kind of what you can see what was going on. So like while it said that the student went off site for a second, he could have just clicked off and went into his email, or just clicked onto just another area of his computer. But it's just for you to see what was going on while that student was taking that exam. Yes, if you allow for multiple attempts, you'll be able to see how they answered per attempt. And also if you grant an extra attempt at the end, it's not like Blackboard where the previous attempt has to be deleted. You'll always be able to see everything that the student submitted. best to have an area where they can work on documents together, like BB blogs. So that would probably be a group discussion. You would want to set it up that way so that they all have access to that just one forum area, and they can work there. And as a professor, you'll still be able to peer into it. And when we go over to groups, I'll show too, you can even set up group leaders in case for an assignment, you just want one person from that group to continue to submit every time. Okay. The images load slowly on Canvas pages than they do on other websites. Most images will be uploaded directly into your Canvas course, and you'll see it in the file section. So they shouldn't load slowly, but if they do, that could just be, you know, a lot of people are in Canvas at the moment, or we might be running a feed of enrollments and it's just lagging momentarily. Cool. So I'll continue. And again, if I missed your question, I will stop again once we fully go over the course area. So we've seen all the content areas. The only other thing to mention is pages. So I already showed the home page, but this is where you'd go to create all additional pages using this plus up on top. We kind of already showed the text editor, everything you can do, but this is where you go to manage your pages. If you'd like to delete multiple at the same time, you can go ahead and click on them and delete them, or if you would like to unpublish them, you can do that as well from here. What other options you have? Yeah, delete, duplicate, you'd be able to find all that within here. Files area as well. This is kind of how I showed in the account area, but this is specifically for this course. So anything you upload, you'll be able to see it directly within here. So some additional things. So going to the setting area of your course. On the first page, you'll be able to change your course card. This is the image that you saw on the dashboard. You'll be able to change it right here if you'd like to see some additional information. Sections, be able to see all the students and what sections they're in. You can also see the same information from the People tab, which we'll go over next. And navigation. Navigation is probably the most important area of the settings. So before I mess with the navigation, as you can see over here, this is the course nav, and I'm sure you guys notice there are some eyes with disabled sign on the side. And what that is anything that has that eye disabled, it is not viewable for the student, but as the instructor, you'll always have access to these areas. So when we go into student view later, you'll notice that they actually only see these top ones up on top. But this is where you decide what is viewable by students and what is not. So right now, I actually don't have Zoom or My Media enabled, so I'll go ahead and drag both of them on top like that, and then scroll all the way down and click Save. So now as you see, Zoom and My Media are showing up over here. So quickly go over Zoom. So I feel like a lot of professors will be using Zoom and My Media. So you can go ahead and go here and create a new meeting, and any meeting you create within this course will only be available to the students within this specific course. So I go ahead and create a title, description, put when we will be meeting, and all this right here, the when duration, that is just kind of a timestamp for students to see. But in case your meeting does go over an hour, that's totally fine. In case you wanted to start your meeting at 11:30 instead of 12, that's totally fine as well. This is just kind of a timestamp for students to see. You can set up a reoccurring meeting, which it'll just automatically populate there in the Zoom. But at the same time, these meeting rooms don't really ever end. So you can continue to use the same meeting room and just mention that we will be meeting within this meeting room. But if not, you can just have that link just constantly repopulate on the bottom, which I'll show. Registration, not really required because everyone is logging in through Canvas to go to your Zoom course. Also, this is automatically set, but not really necessary. What else do we have here? And then record meeting automatically. This is important in case you want your students to see it after. Go ahead and click record meeting automatically and make sure it's left on in the cloud, because I'll show you where all that goes. So I set it to recurring just so you can see. Boom. So now it's recurring. You'll see all these on the side. But again, I could actually have just set up a normal meeting, not recurring. And that one will just be here. And every time the student knows that they need to enter Zoom, they just keep clicking on this one link. So a few other things to mention in case you want to use polls in your Zoom course, you can go ahead and do that. Once the Zoom meeting is created, you'll see down here, there's this poll section. They will give you a CSV template that you can try to use, and you can go ahead and upload it. I guess I'll show it. Yep, wrong Excel sheet. There we go. So here it is. It'll give you kind of an example how to lay everything out. And once you're ready, you'll be able to go ahead and import it back in. No, you would have to use the CSV template to input their polls. But once they're inputted, before you even start up the Zoom meeting, you'll be able to see how they'll work out in case you want to do a fact check before you start. And then of course, as you saw, you can add this to the Google Calendar and send it out that way as well. As soon as you create a Zoom meeting within your course, your students will be notified by email. The same as when you saw me delete all of those occurrences, the students in my course were also notified by email that happened. And then as you saw, I also made sure to click on recording and cloud recording. So once the meeting is over, you'll be asked to input a title, and then in a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, it'll also appear right here under the cloud recording tab. So the students can come afterwards and go to cloud recording and view the training session you had. The other thing we'll look at is Kaltura. If you create a Zoom meeting in a sandbox and copy it over, so when you create Zoom meetings, again, since they have to be created within the course, so that's only those students in that course can access it, you will have to recreate the Zoom meeting every time you start a new course. So they do not course copy over. So we'll go into Kaltura now. So in case you have any media that you would like to upload to your course so that they can view, maybe it's a movie that they need to watch or a clip from a movie and all that, you're gonna wanna use Kaltura. The reason why we don't recommend uploading directly into the course, because each course and each student, each user has about a 2 gig limit. So of course we would like to stay under that. So once you upload to Kaltura, there's really no limit on Kaltura. We have that type of university license. So I'm sure you guys have seen it already in Blackboard. It's all basically the same, but you'll just need to select My Media, use the Add New to add what you would like. If you're uploading media, if you're just taking a video for your webcam, use Express Capture, and then Kaltura Video would be the software that you would need to download and use it that way to both record your desktop as well as your video. Yes, creating the session within Canvas will make it easier for students to get to your live course. Perusal, once you have it installed into your course, you'll be able to add it from the settings app. I'll quickly glance at that in a moment. So once your videos are uploaded into Kaltura, how do you make it available for your students? So there's a few different ways. You can go ahead and create a page. They also have access from that My Media area, but like, let's say you want to create a content page. That's where I showed previously that you'd go ahead and go to this plug and embed Kaltura that way. You can also add it as assignment, and we have guides on all that in case you need it. So if you're using Perusal, I saw Flipgrid as well mentioned. Once it's set up into your course, it would go to the app section, make sure it's all set up within here, which you would get instructions from that specific organization. And then again, you'd be able to go to your navigation section, find it, and bring it to the top. I don't think Perusal is loaded into my training course, so I can't actually show that. But yeah, so same type of situation. Okay, so other features you have as a professor. So as you know, Blackboard had its student view, so does Canvas. So right from the home page or from settings, you'll have this button called Student View. And when you click on it, you'll be able to see as a student, you'll be able to take an exam as a student. And as you notice, all those additional URL links on the course nav are all gone in Student View. So from here, I can go ahead and take an assignment. I believe most of my assignments are locked, so I won't be able to show that, but they'll be able to do that, and then you can reset the student or leave student view to grade it yourself. I'm going to show an actual user so you can see things as a student. But before that, we'll go over the people tab. So the people tab, from here, you'll be able to see all your users, all the students, as well as any TAs and everything. And you see a few cool analytics. So I see this student, they were last active in this course at this time, and their total activity over here. I can also click on the student and kind of see an overall view of how well they're doing in my course. The student has an A, they're pretty high in activity, versus this one who has a C, and they're not really doing much. With that too, as you can see, there's an analytics button right here. And I can kind of see how active they are, how many pages they're viewing per day, how often they're communicating, how often they're submitting on time, and their grade versus kind of everyone else in the course. So there's some pretty neat analytics built into the people section that is available for you, not to the students, just you guys. And as well as that biography that you input on the account section. If a student were to click on your name anywhere within your course, this is what will pop up for them, and they'll be able to see that biography, any additional links that you're adding, and so forth. So I'll show you real quick what it actually looks like for a real student when their assignment is graded. So when a student comes in, they'll see a 1 by the grade section when something new is graded, and they'll be able to click in it. And right here, they can see kind of their overall grade in the course, and they'll be able to check on that specific assignment. So we'll come back to the gradebook area, but I want to show you how that assignment looked for the student. So viewing the feedback, they'll be able to come here, they'll see all the highlighting, any comments you added, as well as the comments on the side, and be able to review the grade. If the assignment's still open, they can resubmit it, all that stuff right there. So going back to grades, a cool feature for grades on the student side. Right now you can see the student has missed a few assignments, but the grade is a 91 in the course. Well, they know at one point these assignments are going to be inputted, so I can actually see, let's say I did get a 0 on all this, right? Oof, that's what my grade's going down to. Okay, cool. Let's say I talk to the professor and she still gives me an 8 when I go to submit, a 2 on this, 3, and an 8 over here. So it's a pretty cool feature called What If, where they can actually see how the grade can flex depending on how well they do in the course, continuing in the course. And of course, students can't actually get confused because as soon as you refresh this page, everything goes back to normal. Now we'll leave that view and show gradebook as the professor. So this is the gradebook as the professor. You'll be able to see all the students in your course. You can arrange it by alphabetical, maybe by points, and all these additional filters right here. You could also submit a grade right here for that student, or click and kind of go and review it within the SpeedGrader. As you can see here, my test student did submit an assignment, so you guys will be able to check out with your test student how it all looks to grade and take an assignment with them. I had previously mentioned the late policy. So if you do want to set up the late policy, you can use this settings over here, and you'll be able to set it up like so, and then kind of inform students how the late policy works. Yes, so that is a course in a nutshell. So I'm gonna pause for questions. And yes, I figured out of all my Star Wars character, Han Solo would be the one to be doing the worst in the course. So PowerPoint with video, you can share on Zoom and show those videos. Yes, you could use Zoom and share that way. And in case you want to upload this and it not be a live course, then you would go ahead and use the Kaltura capturing program to do the same.
Hey, Justin, I've got a couple of questions about Zoom through Canvas.
Sure.
If we record the Zoom sessions, so I was in the previous session to this about using Zoom. And one of the things we were cautioned about is that the cloud only keeps the Zoom sessions for 30 days. But we have a limited amount of space in our Canvas accounts. So what do we do with a Zoom recording if we want to keep it, make it accessible for more than 30 days, but we clearly don't have enough room with 3 gigs to upload all of our Zoom sessions.
So I wasn't aware about the 30-day limit, but at that point, I would go ahead and instead download it to your computer and then upload it to Kaltura. It's not the best solution, but there, at least on Kaltura, we have no data restrictions, and it'll stay up there as long as you need it.
So is there an option then if we go into the Kaltura app that just allows us to upload a video that wasn't recorded with Kaltura?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other question I had is, so with setting up a Zoom meeting and making it recurring, I haven't done this before, so I might just be imagining something that's not real, but it seems to me like it would be annoying to have 29 things listed for upcoming meetings. Whereas I would prefer just to have one link that my students know is always there and they go to, preferably on like the home page for my page. Is there a way to do that within Canvas, or do we have to set it up in Zoom? And then I guess let me make it clear what I'm asking is, like, using the Zoom setup that's within Canvas, can we have one meeting that's just always open, or do we have to have the recurring meetings listed?
So that's what I was mentioning earlier, that you can set up recurring, but I prefer kind of how you mentioned. This looks a lot cleaner to just have one Zoom meeting and then continuously use that one specific one. So it's the same functionality. They just kind of allowed you to set it up whichever way you prefer. But yeah, I agree. That's why I only have one here. But if you notice, if I were to even set up a recurring meeting, that meeting ID is actually going to be exactly the same throughout. So it's the same functionality. So this is the second one that I just created, and you see 6648, 6648, 6648. So this is actually the same meeting room that's just being listed multiple times.
So what were the settings on the one that you have that's not recurring?
Just create it normally and just inform your students we'll be using this link every Monday, every Tuesday, or whatnot.
But for it to keep showing up on upcoming, did you just not set an end date for it then?
Oh, I see what you're asking. You're saying you want it to continue to show on upcoming.
Yeah, like how basically trying to make it easier for the students to find where that link is.
I guess you could continue, yeah, because this will always appear here. Yeah, it'll end up going into previous meetings. So then you'll have to continue to manipulate the start time and date.
Okay.
Aaron, I think if you create a recurring meeting and then, in your Zoom account, and then if you wanted to put that on like your homepage in Canvas, you could then hide the Zoom link on the menu so that the students wouldn't have to worry. But there is also an option in Zoom to isolate those in Canvas, the Zoom in Canvas in the course, to isolate those meetings to just the meetings that are going to occur in the course itself. So, I mean, it's multiple ways to get there. So I think it'd probably be a little bit more obvious if you, like how you were saying, where you added it to your homepage for the course, you had it linked where this is the live session, but it's up to you. I mean, I think that students are pretty technologically, adept. I would say that they'd probably be able to find that. But yeah, so like Justin has the live sessions here, you could then include the link to the Zoom live sessions there directly, or you could do like Justin's doing where you add the app too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Kim's solution would probably be best for you then, to just add it to the homepage from like zoom.us, get the link from there. It's a bad idea to create one recurring for class and office hours. Yeah, you probably want to use a different Zoom meeting for your office hours. So that's where you'd probably want to use your personal meeting room for office hours, and we'll actually go over office hours in the calendar next. So let's go through that. I'm trying to highlight this.
I'm teaching in the fall as well, so I've created 2 different Zoom meetings that are recurring with no fixed time. So I have one for class sessions, and I have another separate link for office hours. I want them to be separate so that it is ultra clear as to where they should be if they want to meet with me in office hours, or if they need to reach and go to the Zoom live link, like the live course sessions link. So I think just organizationally speaking, I think it's good to have two so that they're separate. It's up to you.
Yeah, I agree. Two is better. So that's basically the course, but we'll go ahead and go into the calendar, which kind of links into office hours. So you can actually set up your office hours within the calendar section. Also, the calendar section shows an overview of all the assignments when they're due, and the students will see this as well. They can see everything that's due, and on your side, let's say I have this one due on the 22nd. I no longer want to do on the 22nd, I actually want to do on the 21st. I shifted it, and it's already made that change within my course. I can also check on what specific course I want to see. And I can also take the calendar feed and go ahead and add it to my Outlook or my Gmail or whichever there. And that calendar feed, as soon as there's an update on Canvas side, you'll see it within Outlook, but it is not a two-way sync. So do not manipulate anything in Outlook expecting it to show up on Canvas. So cool additional features up here. Yes. Yeah, cool. So you can set up your office hours using the assignment group section on the plus up over here. So I can go ahead and say office hours, put in my Zoom link, select my course, and then I can say a date range and all that, set up different slots, say 8 to 12. Set up different slots, how many users I want, allows students to see what's available, and limit that. So go ahead and publish. So you have a few options there, and then the office hours will be within here. And I can see that there's one over here, and I can see all that. On the student side, when they come into the calendar, they will have an option, a button over here that will allow them to select show appointments, and all those appointments will pop up, and they'll be able to click on one, and it'll link it on your side that a student wants to set up an office hours for you at that time. That is a good question. Let's see. No, it looks like you will have to continue to set up the specific day one by one. Yeah, you can also create an assignment directly within Calendar, but that's just a shell of an assignment. You'll be able to set up the name and everything, but you'd still have to go into the assignment later and populate it. Do the Zoom meetings automatically populate in the iCal? Kim is shaking her head no. So
I think it's only assignments that appear in the calendar for students.
Yeah,
right? Probably, like if you have them for readings or anything like that, those don't appear because it's not an assignment. It's not technically, like Canvas doesn't read that as something that students have to do.
So it's only gradable things. Gradable items will show up in the calendar then.
And I think you've created a Zoom link too, which we can't see here. So it could be that because it's a recurring meeting with no fixed time, it's also not showing up on this calendar too. It could be that. Let me play around with that in my calendar in Canvas, and I'll get back to you on that.
Yes, so right here, when you're selecting the calendars and everything, you can limit the amount of participants. Yeah, where is it? Sign up in groups. So you can limit it to how many participants you want and everything so that other ones can't be in there. Can't sign up for the same time. Cool. So then, some additional things about Canvas. So as I mentioned, the template, if you guys want to download it, you'd go into the Commons area down here. Now, Commons is essentially an area where instructors all over the globe are submitting, content that other instructors can use. It's automatically set to just things that, you know, DC has already approved for you guys to use, but you can go ahead and click that off and search and see everything else that Commons has to offer. The template that we've created for you all is the American University template course right here. In Commons, you can't really see exactly what you're importing into your course. That's kind of the one thing that Canvas is still working on, but you can kind of see like an overview of what's there in it. And once you kind of agree that this is what you want, you'd be able to click this import download button, select the course you want to import to, and then go ahead and click import. You can also download the file in case you want to do the import later on. Some additional features within Canvas. So you have this help feature down here. So Canvas has this awesome 24/7 chat. You can also call them, but this is the chat support that they have, where you'll go ahead and write your name, add in your, you know, the question that you have for them, and then go ahead and start chatting. So generally on, you know, their normal days, it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes for someone on Canvas's end to go ahead and help you out. But due to the pandemic, sometimes they do get a little hectic, and it could take about 30 to 40 minutes to connect with someone. But this is a great feature. It's available 24/7. So Saturdays, Christmas Day, you can go ahead and use this chat, and you'll be able to speak to someone on Canvas's end. Some additional features within Canvas. So let's say how I mentioned the late policy, but I kind of forgot how to set it all up. So Canvas has Canvas guides. You can go ahead and click search on Canvas guides right here, and you'll go to Canvas's own website, where I can go write in something like late policy. And I can find a whole guide created by Canvas with, you know, great indications of where you need to go, as far as additional notes on how it all works. So great feature of Canvas community guides. They have something on everything, and the best part, since it's by Canvas, they have to be right. So you can go ahead and check that out in case there's any features that you kind of are working through in Canvas. Check my agenda to see if there's anything I might have skipped. So course migration, but I did actually skip creating groups. So I will go back into the course real quick. So in the people tab, this is where you'd go ahead and create a group. So right on top, you see this group set button. So create the name of your group, intro one, split them into how many groups, you know, 2, set up how many you want per group. You can automatically assign a group leader and all that. So once the groups are created by Canvas, you'll see these tabs right over here, where you'll be able to actually view into each group and see like who's in each group. You can manually manipulate them if you need to, as well as set the group, edit it, and, you know, set the group leader if you need to from their homepage and all that. So that's groups. And now the last thing is for anybody who still has content on Blackboard that they need to, they need to migrate over. Going into your Blackboard course, you go down to Control Panel, Packages and Utilities, Export Archive Course. As you see, I have multiple exports already. Go ahead and click that export package. Most of this is set up correctly already. You know, this first one, course files default directory, that one's correct. This one I do change, files outside the course default directly. I set to the second option, and essentially what this is let's say you have a PowerPoint in your Blackboard course that isn't actually linked in the content area, but it's useful for you or maybe the TAs to review. It'll make sure that the downloadable course will include those additional orphaned files that are just in your course. Go ahead and select all, or if there's only specific things you want to import, you can do that as well. Click submit. You'll receive an email, and it'll automatically pop up here once it's ready. And then you'll be able to click download. Then going back to the course you're trying to upload within, click my sandbox. I can use this button right here, import from existing content, or within the settings section, there is also import course content, same area, different, just two places to get to it. And then I'll go ahead and click on Blackboard 6789 export file, find that file, select all content, and go ahead and import over. You'll see it get queued, you'll see it run, and then you'll see it be completed. The other thing, if you guys have dev shells in your Canvas course or in Canvases already, and you would like to import it over to the live version of your course, you can also do that from this import content section, where instead of clicking the Blackboard one, you'll just click copy a Canvas course. You will find the course in question, which you only have access to ones, you'll only be able to see ones you have access to. And again, all content, go ahead and click import, and the same exact process where it'll queue, eventually it'll run, and then it'll complete. And we do have guides on how to do the migration as well as course copies. So that is Canvas in a nutshell. So I'm going to open up again for questions. The last thing to mention though, in case you guys want to continue using Blackboard for fall, that is totally fine. And you know, your live course is already in Canvas, you can go ahead and develop within Canvas. Just make sure to keep your course unpublished. So whichever version of the course you're not going to run, whether you're going to stay on Blackboard, if you're going to stay on Blackboard, keep the Canvas course unpublished. If you're planning on running it in Canvas, keep the Blackboard version unpublished. Yeah, opening up to questions now. How do we publish a course on Canvas? Great question. So you see all my courses down here, they say unpublished. You can go ahead and click this button on top to publish them, or once you're within the course, you also have the course status button that you'll see on the home page. Click publish here. And let's say, you know, the course isn't actually ready, you realize there's an issue, go ahead and click the unpublished button to set it to be unpublished again. The only thing, once the course is published and once a student has submitted to any assignment type, you will no longer be able to unpublish the course. So once your student activity, the course is fully published. Best place for a quick one-off question about the future of Canvas. If it's Canvas specific, again, you could create a Canvas support chat, or you can go ahead and email, you know, canvas@american.edu or helpdesk@american.edu. So you have a few different options. Ready to, yes, you can go ahead and start building in Canvas now. For you, since your course is in spring, you'll have to use the help request form to create a dev shell. And we'll just create a kind of a sandbox course like you see right here, where you'll be able to develop. And then at one point, you'll course copy over to your live spring course. Now, good thing to mention about Canvas courses. I don't have any real ones on my desktop, so we'll go ahead. Cool. This one has students, cool. So Canvas courses will automatically adjust when students add and drop the course. So as you can see right here, the student is inactive. And what happened is the student added the course and then they dropped it later on. So if you ever see inactive status for a student, they just dropped the course. And new students will automatically appear here when the feed gets run. Other thing to mention, let's say you would like to add a TA or another professor to your course, you can also do that. Going into the people section, plus people, add in their login ID, say Louis A, set their role to teacher or instructor, go ahead and click next. It'll ask you to confirm, and now I've added another professor in my course. When you add people to your course, they will need to accept the invite, which is why it says pending here. So let me go ahead and cancel. I'm gonna show you what that invite looks like so you can warn them. So when someone requests you to be added to the course, you'll see an invite like so up on top, or even if you go ahead and click on that specific course, you'll also see that invite. Until you accept that invite, you won't have full access to the course, so there might be some issues. So, you know, just remind that person to go ahead and accept that invite. Can you add an image to the course? Yes. So that again, that was under settings. This under course details, you can go ahead and manipulate this image and it'll go ahead and change on that course dash for everyone else. One last thing to note. So courses and dashboards. So again, dashboards, you see this nice card view of all the courses you have offered to you. Courses, you have a list view of everything offered. You also have the starring over here. So what this starring does is whatever I star on the course list will be the only thing that appear in the dashboard. So right now I have these 5 items starred. If I go back to my dashboard now, only 5 items show. So that's great if you have a lot of courses that you want to manage, but the important thing to mention about the starring. So right now, if I were to be added to a new course, if I was enrolled to another course, it will not automatically appear on my dashboard. I will need to go back to the course section, find that new enrollment, and star it so it could appear on my dashboard. So that's just one thing to note. If you do want to use the starring functionality, you will then at that point need to manage your dashboard manually. But I prefer to just leave all the starring off, so I can see just everything directly here. All right, everyone. So if that's all the questions, then I guess I'll let you guys go. We did go a little bit over this time, so I hope everyone feels, feels like they're ready to work in Canvas. All right, have a good day, everyone.